It's 6:30 in the morning. Alarm went off. You stumble into the kitchen. Reach for that familiar bag, the one you've bought 100 times, tear it open, and breathe in that smell that promises everything is going to be okay. You've done this ritual almost every single day of your adult life. But what if that ritual, that one thing that starts your day, is slowly working against you? What if the coffee sitting in your kitchen right now contains toxic mold compounds that can damage your kidneys and suppress your immune system? What if it's been sprayed with pesticides that multiple European governments have flagged as dangerous? What if a chemical that forms naturally during the roasting process has been quietly linked to cancer, and the brands you trust the most have the highest concentrations? In this video, we are going to name names. 11 of the most popular coffee brands sold in America and across Europe. Brands you will absolutely recognize. And we're going to tell you exactly why you should stop drinking them. And then, because we're not here to leave you without options, we're going to give you a list of 7 coffee brands that independent lab tests and food safety experts actually consider safe. You'll want to stay until the end for that list. People have been sharing it everywhere. Let's get into it. Before we get to the brands, you need to understand what we're actually looking for, and why this matters more than most people realize. Americans drink over 400 million cups of coffee every single day. That makes it the most consumed beverage in the country, beating even water in some demographics. In Europe, it's even more extreme. Countries like Finland and Sweden average more than 4 cups per person per day. Coffee is everywhere, which is exactly why what goes into it matters so much. There are 3 main threats hidden in the coffee brands most people drink without a second thought. Threat number 1, mycotoxin. Most commercial coffee beans spend weeks, sometimes months, in storage or in transit after harvesting, often in conditions that are warm and humid, that creates the perfect environment for mold to grow. The toxins produced by that mold, particularly 2 called acrylamide and aflatoxin, don't burn off during roasting, they survive. And when you drink enough of them over time, research links them to kidney damage, liver stress, immune suppression, and in high enough concentrations, carcinogenic effects. The European Food Safety Authority has set strict limits on acrylamide in coffee. But in the US, there are no federal legal limits at all. Threat number 2, pesticide residue. Unless a coffee is certified organic, the beans it's made from were almost certainly sprayed, multiple times, with synthetic pesticides during growing. Some of the most common compounds used on conventional coffee crops include chlorpyrifos and endosulfan, both of which have been restricted or banned in Europe but are still in use in countries that supply American coffee brands. When the beans are roasted and ground, traces of these chemicals concentrate. Threat number 3, acrylamide. Acrylamide is a chemical that forms naturally when starchy or nitrogen-rich foods are heated at high temperatures. It's the same compound that made headlines in French fries and potato chips. In coffee, it forms during the roasting process, and dark roasts contain the highest concentrations. In 2018, a California judge ruled that coffee companies must carry Prop 65 cancer warning labels because of acrylamide. Several major brands were named in that lawsuit. So with those 3 threats in mind, let's talk about who's failing you. Coffee brand number 1, Folgers. Do you know Folgers? Almost everyone in America grew up with it. It's been the number 1 selling ground coffee in the United States for decades. That famous jingle is basically wired into the American brain. But here's what the commercials don't show you. Folgers uses a blend of Robusta and Arabica beans, and Robusta beans are significantly more susceptible to mycotoxin contamination than higher-grade Arabica. Independent lab tests conducted by consumer watchdog groups have consistently found elevated levels of acrylamide in Folgers products. On top of that, Folgers is not certified organic, meaning the beans are grown with conventional pesticides. And because Folgers relies heavily on dark roasting to create its signature bold flavor, the acrylamide content is among the highest of any mainstream brand tested. Folgers was also among the brands included in the California Prop 65 acrylamide lawsuits in 2018. America's most beloved morning coffee, also one of the most contaminated on this list. Coffee brand number 2, Maxwell House. Maxwell House is the other titan of American grocery store coffee, owned by the same megacorporation Kraft Heinz and carrying many of the same problems. Maxwell House relies almost entirely on Robusta beans, cheaper, more mold-prone, and lower quality. Multiple independent lab analyses have flagged Maxwell House for elevated mycotoxin levels, particularly in its pre-ground canned formats, where the beans sit ground and sealed for extended periods before you ever open them. Kraft Heinz has faced pressure in recent years over ingredient transparency, and Maxwell House offers virtually zero visibility into where its beans are sourced, how they're stored, or whether any mold mitigation practices are in place. Not certified organic, heavily dark acrylamide, high mycotoxin risk. Maxwell House checks every single box on the list of things you don't want in your coffee. Coffee brand number 3, Dunkin', formerly Dunkin' Donuts, has successfully repositioned itself as a premium-ish coffee brand. And millions of people who wouldn't buy Folgers will happily throw a bag of Dunkin' Original Blend into their cart. But the packaged Dunkin' ground coffees you sold in supermarkets is a different product from what's brewed in the stores. And it's not an upgrade. Dunkin's retail coffee is a blend of undisclosed origin beans with no organic certification. Third-party tests have found it contains detectable levels of acrylamide A. The brand has also been flagged in the Clean Label Project's coffee testing initiative, which assessed dozens of popular brands for toxins and heavy metals. The branding says premium, the lab results say otherwise. Coffee brand number 4, Starbucks. This one is going to upset a lot of people. Starbucks has built an entire identity around premium coffee. Their stores are on every corner. Their app is one of the most used in America. People feel loyal to this brand in a way that goes beyond just coffee. So it might come as a shock that Starbucks bagged retail coffee and, especially their K-Cup products, have been cited repeatedly for acrylamide concerns. Starbucks' signature roasting style is dark, very dark. And as we explained earlier, dark roasting maximizes acrylamide formation. Starbucks was directly named in the 2018 California Prop 65 cancer warning lawsuit over acrylamide, one of the highest profile cases of that group. Additionally, Starbucks sources beans from dozens of countries with wildly varying agricultural standards. While they have an internal ethical sourcing program called CFE Practices, that program does not require organic certification or independent mycotoxin testing. The Starbucks name is premium. The product, on a contamination level, is not. Coffee brand number 5, Nescafé. Nescafé is one of the most consumed coffee brands on the planet. It dominates in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. It's the default coffee in millions of offices and homes worldwide. And instant coffee is where mycotoxin risk gets particularly serious. The spray drying process that turns brewed coffee into instant powder involves concentrated brewing from lower-grade beans, often Robusta, followed by high-heat processing. Studies published in food science journals have found that instant coffee products consistently show higher average acrylamide A levels compared to whole bean or ground coffee. The European Food Safety Authority has specifically flagged instant coffee as the coffee format of greatest concern for acrylamide A exposure. Nescafé uses primarily Robusta beans, offers no organic certification on its mainstream lines, and is produced at industrial scale from beans sourced from regions with variable quality control. Convenient? Absolutely. Safe? The science says you should think twice. Coffee brand number 6, Death Wish. Death Wish Coffee markets itself as the world's strongest coffee. Bold, extreme, no apologies. And while the branding is undeniably cool, the health profile is genuinely concerning for a different reason than the others on this list. Death Wish uses ultra-high caffeine Robusta beans and roasts them dark to maximize potency. That combination, high Robusta content dark roast, means elevated mycotoxin risk, elevated acrylamide in every single cup. In 2017, Death Wish Coffee voluntarily recalled one of its cold brew cans due to potential botulinum toxin contamination, a serious food safety incident that raised broader questions about their quality control processes. The brand has no organic certification and no published third-party lab testing. Mycotoxins, strong coffee, strong risks. Death Wish earns its spot on this list. Coffee brand number 7, Bustelo. Café Bustelo is a cultural institution in Latin American communities across the U.S., and its popularity exploded in recent years as consumers looked for bolder, more affordable coffee alternatives. But Café Bustelo is made from 100% Robusta beans, the bean variety most associated with mycotoxin contamination. It's also an espresso-style dark roast, meaning acrylamide content is high. The brand sources beans at industrial volume with no disclosed geographic traceability, no organic certification, and no published testing for mold toxins. The flavor is bold. The contamination potential is equally bold. Coffee brand number 8, 8 O'Clock. Coffee 8 O'Clock is one of those brands that feels wholesome and old-fashioned. And for a lot of American families, it is their coffee. It's been around since 1859. It's affordable. It's familiar. But 8 O'Clock was specifically named in independent lab testing as having among the highest acrylamide concentrations of mainstream U.S. coffee brands. It was also part of the broad California Prop 65 acrylamide action that targeted multiple roasters in 2018. The brand uses conventional non-organic beans with no published mycotoxin testing. Its dark roast varieties are the most problematic. 165 years of history, but history doesn't make a coffee safe. Coffee brand number 9, McDonald's McCafe. McDonald's made a massive push into the coffee category over the last decade, and their McCafe packaged coffee, now sold in grocery stores, has become a significant player in the mainstream coffee market. McCafe coffee is sourced from undisclosed origins, processed at scale, and carries no organic certification. Third-party testing has flagged it for acrylamide A presence above what independent researchers consider acceptable thresholds. The packaging is cheerful. The sourcing is opaque. And when a corporation the size of McDonald's refuses to publish independent lab results for their coffee products, that opacity itself should concern you. Coffee brand number 10, Lavazza. Now we're going to European viewers. Directly, because Lavazza is the coffee in your office. It's in your hotel. It might be in your own kitchen right now. It is one of the most consumed coffee brands across continental Europe. And while Lavazza's premium single-origin lines are a different story, their mainstream conventional products, Qualità Oro Rossa, and similar mass-market blends, use non-organic Robusta and Arabica mixes with no published mycotoxin testing. Italian prestige doesn't equal clean sourcing. And Lavazza's scale, they produce billions of cups worth of coffee per year, means the quality controls that matter most get harder to maintain. If you drink Lavazza, the premium specialty lines are a safer choice, but the standard supermarket bags, they belong on this list. Coffee brand number 11, Jacobs. For our European viewers, particularly in Germany, Eastern Europe, and Scandinavia, Jacobs is the coffee brand of everyday life. Jacobs Krönung is one of the best-selling coffees in German history. It's practically a household name. But Jacobs, now owned by the same multinational conglomerate behind Tassimo and other mass-market brands, relies on undisclosed conventional sourcing with no organic certification and no published independent lab testing for mycotoxins. The European Food Safety Authority has been conducting ongoing assessments of Acrylamide A levels in European coffee brands, and mainstream mass-market blends like Jacobs consistently appear in the higher-risk category of their assessments. Familiar, affordable, part of European daily life for generations. Also a coffee you should think very carefully about continuing to buy. I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, is there any coffee that's actually safe to drink? Is this just going to be one of those videos where everything is terrible, and I'm supposed to give up the one thing that makes mornings survivable? No, that's not what this is. We're not here to scare you into giving up coffee. Coffee, when it's clean, has genuine health benefits. The research on antioxidants, cognitive function, and even reduced risk of certain diseases is solid. The problem isn't coffee. The problem is how these specific brands source, store, and process their beans. And the good news is, there are brands that get it right. If this video has been useful to you, hit that like button and subscribe. We cover consumer health and food safety stories that most media won't touch. Now let's talk about the 7 brands you can actually feel good about. Safe brand number 1, Purity Coffee. Purity Coffee was built from the ground up with one specific purpose: to be the healthiest coffee you can buy. And uniquely among coffee brands, they actually publish their third-party lab test results, including mycotoxin panels for every single batch they sell. Their beans are specialty grade, the top tier of coffee quality, which means the sourcing standards alone dramatically reduce mold risk. They're USDA certified organic, so pesticide contamination is eliminated. And they use a medium roast that keeps acrylamide well within safe ranges. Best for anyone who has been drinking coffee daily for years and wants to make sure they're not accumulating toxins over time. Also excellent for people with gut sensitivity, since Purity specifically selects for low-acid bean profiles. Safe brand number 2, Life Boost Coffee. Life Boost sources single-origin beans from high-altitude farms in Nicaragua, where the growing conditions, cooler temperatures, lower humidity, naturally inhibit mold growth. Their beans are tested by a third-party lab for over 400 toxins, including mycotoxins and pesticides, before the coffee is ever packaged. Life Boost is also shade-grown, which means the beans develop more slowly and with greater density of nutrients and antioxidants. It's certified organic. And their light to medium roast keeps acrylamide at minimal levels. Best for people dealing with acid reflux, digestive issues, or anyone who wants the cleanest possible single-origin cup. Safe brand number 3, Bulletproof. Coffee Bulletproof became famous in health and biohacker communities, and while the brand's marketing can sometimes push into exaggerated territory, their core product commitment is real. Bulletproof Coffee was one of the first mainstream brands to make mycotoxin testing a central part of their brand identity. They test every lot and publish results. Their beans are sourced from high-altitude farms with rigorous processing standards designed to prevent mold formation during drying. It's worth noting that some scientists have pushed back on the scale of the mycotoxin in coffee problem as Bulletproof frames it in their marketing. But the testing and sourcing practices themselves are legitimate, and compared to the 11 brands we just covered, the difference is not small. Best for health-focused coffee drinkers who want full transparency and don't mind a premium price point. Safe brand number 4, Kicking Horse Coffee. Coffee Kicking Horse is a Canadian brand that has earned serious credibility on both sides of the Atlantic. They are certified organic, Fairtrade certified, and kosher, and they source exclusively from small farms where ethical treatment of workers and soil health are both verifiable. Their organic certification means the beans are grown without synthetic pesticides. Their sourcing from smallholder farms rather than industrial plantations means more careful processing and lower mold risk. And they offer a range of roast levels, including medium options that keep acrylamide in check. Best for European viewers especially, Kicking Horse is widely available across the UK and continental Europe, and it's one of the few certified clean options you can find in mainstream supermarkets. Safe brand number 5, Equal Exchange Coffee. Equal Exchange is a worker-owned cooperative that sources 100% of its coffee directly from small farmer cooperatives in Latin America, Africa, and Asia. Every batch is certified organic and Fairtrade. Because they work directly with small farmers, cutting out the industrial supply chain entirely, they have unusual visibility into how the beans are grown, dried, and stored. That direct relationship is one of the most effective safeguards against mycotoxin risk, because it eliminates the long, humid storage periods that large commercial supply chains create. Best for ethical consumers who want to know exactly where their coffee comes from, combined with solid food safety credentials. Safe brand number 6, Allegro Coffee. Allegro Coffee is the house coffee brand of Whole Foods Market. And while it's not the most glamorous name on this list, it's one of the most accessible clean coffee options for everyday American shoppers. Allegro maintains certified organic sourcing across their product lines. They publish sourcing information by origin, and their beans are roasted in-house using quality controls that go well beyond what you'd find at commercial commodity coffee producers. For the price point and accessibility, Allegro is one of the best risk-reward options on this list. You can walk into any Whole Foods in America and walk out with a coffee that passes. Best for practical, budget-aware U.S. consumers who don't want to order specialty coffee online and just want a clean daily cup without the hassle. Safe brand number 7, Mount Hagen Organic. And finally, for everyone who said earlier, but I drink instant coffee, here's your answer. Mount Hagen is a German brand that has been producing certified organic, fair-trade, freeze-dried instant coffee for decades. It is the gold standard of clean instant coffee, and it's widely available across Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and throughout Europe. It's also available in the US through major online retailers. Unlike conventional instant coffee brands like Nescafé, Mount Hagen uses certified organic Arabica beans, sources them through Fairtrade certified cooperative, and processes them in ways that minimize the mold risk that makes standard instant coffee the most concerning coffee format. If instant coffee is part of your life and you don't want to give it up, Mount Hagen is the one exception we're comfortable recommending. Before we wrap up, here are 5 rules to follow anytime you're buying a coffee brand that wasn't on our safe list today. Save this, screenshot it, share it. Rule number 1, look for USDA organic certification. No organic cert means pesticides were almost certainly used during growing. Rule 2, choose light to medium roast whenever possible. Dark roast maximizes acrylamide formation. The lighter the roast, the lower the acrylamide. Rule 3, be extremely cautious with instant coffee. It has the highest average mycotoxin levels of any coffee format. Only buy instant if it's certified organic, like Mount Hagen. Rule 4, prioritize brands that publish third-party lab results. If a coffee company won't tell you what's in their beans, ask yourself why. Rule 5, watch for natural flavors in the ingredient list. Clean coffee has one ingredient, coffee. Natural flavors in a coffee product is a red flag. It often signals lower quality beans being masked by additives. We started this video with a simple question. What if the coffee you've been drinking every single morning for years has been working against you? Now you have the answer, and more importantly, you have the power to do something about it. 11 brands that independent research, lab testing, and food safety data tell us you should walk away from, and 7 that actually treat your health as seriously as their marketing claims. 2. The brands with the biggest marketing budgets are not the safest options. The brands you've trusted the longest are not necessarily the cleanest. That's not cynicism. That's just the reality of how industrial food production works when profit and scale become the priority over quality and transparency. You deserve to know what's in your cup, and now you do. Pause 2 seconds. If this video helped you, share it with someone who starts every morning the same way you do. Drop a comment letting us know which brand you're switching from and which safe brand you're going to try, and don't forget to like and subscribe.